tracks that you've seen in earlier Forza games, but also tracks that were not available beforehand. So that's pretty cool. Experiencing new stuff, new challenges, obviously. But
Yeah, and I'll always have I'll always play some of the older racing games, games, let's say, how about the Need for Speed franchise? The latest Need for Speed game is, I think, I haven't really stayed up to date with these games, but as far as I know, is Need for Speed Payback. That game, I like a lot. Like, after you get betrayed by your friend, you have to get a job at a casino and secretly try and start. I don't know. I haven't really done my research on that game, but
what's the one that you have now that it's kind of like open world? Is that a Need for Speed, or is it?
Yes, I have two Need for Speed games. I have Need for Speed Rivals, which I've beaten. That's where you can be. That's the last game where you can be a racer and a cop. I've beaten the cop side and the racer side. You're driving around Fairview. Excuse me. You're driving around. No, you're not driving around Fairview. You're driving around somewhere. I also have Need for Speed Most Wanted, which is that's the game where you drive around Fairview. That's probably my favorite Need for Speed.
Is it the latest Most Wanted version that's come out?
No, the latest one is Need for Speed Payback. I think Most Wanted is the second latest. I think it was Need for Speed Most Wanted, then Need for Speed Payback. I'm not sure, but as I said, Need for Speed Rivals, that's where you don't have a choice to be a racer or a cop. You just start as a cop. No, you start as a racer in Most Wanted and Payback.
Now, obviously, I've been around a little longer than PBD Maxi over here, but I can remember going back to some of the earlier racing games that came out. First racing game I ever played was on the Atari 2600 console, and it was called Pole Position. You were basically driving around in Indy cars on these long, winding road courses where you really didn't have much control, but at the same time, you never ran off the road unless you purposely did it. The cars stayed where they needed to stay. It was just a lot of fun. And the weather, I think that was the first time you could see like weather changes, because it would switch from daytime to nighttime, and then sometimes there would be snow or rain. But that was always a fun game. I didn't do a lot of gaming, I will admit, through the mid to late 80s and early 90s. About the mid 90s I got back into it, and that was around the time PlayStation 1 came out, and the Gran Turismo franchise started and absolutely took over in terms of quality of racing simulation, and you'd never really gotten that realistic of an experience before. And of course, you had your Need for Speed games that had come out, but they had more of a lower resolution. Gran Turismo was advertised as an actual driving simulator, because of the differences in the types of cars you could drive. They tried to make it very authentic with how each car sounded or how each car handled, and therefore if you made upgrades, how it would affect the actual handling of that car in the real world. I do think it was still very arcadish when you think about around the time that Forza first came out. Forza from the get-go was a superior, and I will admit I was a devoted disciple of Gran Turismo, and didn't want to even touch Forza because I didn't like the Xbox console at the time. It's because it's a totally different layout, totally different operating system than PlayStation, obviously. But having played both sides of it, I do believe now Forza is superior in terms of racing qualities. Of course, there's been all kinds of racing games that have come out. What's that? I think they had the word club in the title.
Gear Club.
Gear Club. Yeah, you've played that, haven't you?
I've heard of it. I've watched it, but I haven't played it. They come out with a new one called Gear Club Unlimited. I don't know if that's for mobile or for the actual consoles. I know it's come out for Nintendo Switch. I know it's out for Xbox, PS4, probably PC. But
I think it's nice that at least a few of the actual, for real racing games are out on mobile now. You can play on your device. Usually, it would used to be just really cheap knockoffs of different games. What was the one that's always been, and it comes up with new versions of on just the mobile, and you've had some of the earlier ones where you'd steer with the screen and.
There's Real Racing 1 and 2. Real Racing 1 and 2, that was bad. That's why I'm just starting Real Racing 3.
Not so much Real Racing. It was another. Here, I'll look it up while we're talking, though. I know what I'm trying to say, anyway.
Go back to what I said about the open world stuff. I think my least favorite open world game would be Burnout. Burnout, it's basically all about crashing. Like in the beginning tutorial, you're saying you get points by crashing and stuff like that. The car handling's horrible. Just the mechanics of the game I don't like it. And the one cool thing about it, I think I know what you're talking about. Is it CSR?
Asphalt.
Oh, Asphalt. Yeah, you got Asphalt. I don't think you can play the old ones, but you got Asphalt 7, you got Asphalt.
I'm seeing Asphalt 8 on here, and I'm also seeing Asphalt 9 Legends for 2019.
Yeah, Legends. That's the new one.
It's got that Ferrari you were just talking about, that XXXXXX triple YZFW thing.
That's the Ferrari FK.
Yeah.
FFK. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got good reviews in terms of. I mean, that franchise, even though I don't really like it, has come a long way.
Yeah, you've also got Need for Speed apps you can do on mobile. I actually got
called No Limits.
Yeah, I've got that one. That one's pretty fun, but it's not actual open world. Like you're racing, you're just racing in the streets. You don't get to do open world stuff. You finish a race, It goes back to the menu where you choose your race. You can choose, you can paint a car and everything, but it's not like actual Need for Speed games on the consoles.
And you had for a while there, you were playing that strictly drag racing game.
Yes, CSR. You got CSR, CSR 2, and CSR Classics. CSR Classics is my favorite. That's more of the older cars. You got the Grand Torino. You got the old Audis. You got old Chevys too. That one Chevy truck. The hot rod one. It's just that one's by far the favorite, but it's strictly drag racing. Like you're trying to move up there's a group
rankings or whatever.
Yeah, you got 5 groups of people. You got to get up. I actually beat CSR. Either the first one or second one, I actually beat it, and I moved up to a completely different thing I didn't even know was there in the game. It added 4 more groups, and I needed to buy these expensive cars, like the Bugatti Veyron Supersport 10. That was about $2 million, which I didn't have. In the game, I won about $1 million. The Aston Martin 177, the Koenigsegg Agera R, just stuff like that. I stopped playing that game because I just lost interest in it.
I think nowadays, especially in the last few years, most racing games have become very similar in graphics.
Yeah.